Very welcome. Vlatka Hlupic, ladies and gentlemen, was voted one of the most influential HR thinker in the world. It is so impressive, I'm going to say, every year. In 2015, 2016, 2017, 2018, 2019 by HR Magazine, and has won the Croatian Women of Influence Award, as well as an honorary award from the Leadership Awards in 2016. An activist for humanizing management and an author of a groundbreaking book, The Management Shift: How to Harness the Power of People and Transform Your Organization for Sustainable Success, that was published at Palgrave Macmillan in 2014 and listed by Forbes as one of the top 8 business books in 2014. Vlatka is also the author of Human Capital, published in 2018. Vlatka is a professor, a management consultant, and a board advisor, helping organizations worldwide to sustainably improve performance, engagement, innovation, and profit. Ladies and gentlemen, I give you Vlatka. Welcome, Vlatka.
Thank you, Giles. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you so much for your time.
Thank you. So let's get started with your first question. On your LinkedIn account, you describe the Vlatka Hlupic brand as world's top 11 most influential HR thinker, author, CEO advisor, professor, keynote speaker, which represents for the common of human beings several lives. Vlatka, please share with us your story.
Thank you, Giles. I would say the LinkedIn description is a relevant sample of various roles that I have had during my career. I have some other roles as well that I don't list on LinkedIn. I can mention I'm entrepreneur. I'm running the Management Shift Consulting, which is a consulting, coaching, and executive training company. I'm also a mother and a father to my son and daughter as well, which is a very, very important role. Certainly. Which I have had for years. I'm a humanist, activist to make the world of business and leaders more humanized and more fit for purpose in the 21st century. So my story, I would say, started when I was 7. So in Croatia, we start going to school at the age of 7. I taught myself to read and write even before the school started, and I was quite bored. And my teacher called my parents and said, she seems quite bored in the class. I suggest she does 2 years in 1 year. And then my parents said, no, well, let's just let her have a normal childhood. But because I was bored, I thought, what could I do? So I started teaching. So my teaching career, my speaking career started when I was 7, some years ago. So my father made a blackboard. They bought me some chalks in different colors. And every day I would take about half a dozen friends from school back to my house after school. And I would just teach them anything they didn't quite get in the class. And so that's how my career started. And then throughout school education, I was just interested in everything. I couldn't decide what I was going to study. And I wanted to be a fashion designer. I have a passion for fashion. And because I was also very academic, my parents thought, no, just go into more a secure mainstream profession. So at the age of 18, I chose to study economic cybernetics, and many people didn't have a clue what that was. It sounded very futuristic at the time, but somehow I could see it as the future. So I studied what you would say is business computing at the time, and I learned to program in some languages, and then I studied information systems. I did my PhD in computer science at LSE. After I came to London, and then I pursued my career as a computer scientist, but there was something inside me that wasn't happy with that. I thought, okay, this is my path, but I have always been very passionate about personal development, people, culture. So I did a lot of training in parallel to all this other work, in neuroscience, psychology, OB, and education kinesiology, and psychological kinesiology, and coaching, etc., etc. So, and then about 15 years ago, I decided that I'm going to go for one of my big shifts and become behavioral scientist instead of a computer scientist. And that's how I started my career as a business school professor. And I started doing the management shift work with leaders, with companies, until I was advised in 2012-13 by John Adair, who wrote 40 books on leadership himself, that I have to write the management shift book, which I did, and that was a big turning point as well in my career. So that's the story so far in a nutshell.
A beautiful story, quite a range of different skills that you have developed from the age of 7 you've been teaching. So what would you say is the biggest opportunity that you have faced in your lifetime? Why is that? And what shift did it create in you, in your behavior, and in your ecosystem?
So as I started my my work around the management shift as a business school professor, and I wrote book The Management Shift, that was a big shift, another big shift in my life, in my career, because I launched it at the Houses of Parliament on Guy Fawkes Night in 2014. There were fireworks going on inside and outside Parliament. So there are outside the Parliament, there are protesters shouting, revolution is solution. And there I was standing in a Grand Committee room where the Dalai Lama and Nelson Mandela and others stood before me. And I said, we need a revolution in management. And from that moment and from that launch, my whole life changed, and the book was very successful, got several awards, and I've been invited everywhere, so many places to do keynote talks. I would do several keynote talks every week, and that opened different opportunities. I became a part-time professor, and then I launched my company, the Management Shift Consulting, and then I started to create those ripples that I talk about, to touch many lives, thousands of leaders, hundreds of companies worldwide. And I really feel that I have started to live my purpose. I feel this work is my life purpose. I'm here on earth to create as many ripples and to touch as many lives as possible, and to humanize the world of business, and to make workplaces happier, more purposeful, and also more profitable at the same time. So these are some of the biggest opportunities. And then in addition to speaking, I had a number of high profile clients, creating big ripples, and then teaching many people how to create their own ripples as well. So this is really living the dream for me, to see all this impact happening with my work.
So to see this impact happening with your work, quite early you spoke about the experience at the Parliament where you met the Dalai Lama. His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, says in her book, Professor Hlupic provides strong evidence through powerful case studies that one can do well in business by being good humans. I commend the author for her hard work and hope her book will achieve due recognition. I have 2 questions in one, actually 3 questions altogether. What words would you use to describe who you are and why you're effective at what you do? That's 2 questions. And then the other one is, what skill sets have you developed to excel in the field of human transformation?
Thank you. I didn't meet His Holiness, the Dalai Lama, in person, but perhaps I can share the story a bit later about that. Coming back to your questions, how do you describe myself? The first thing that comes to mind is a humanist. I have a big love for humanity. I am a humanist, and I want to make this world a better place anyhow I can. And I hope I've been doing this through my work. How do people describe me? I've been amused by different nicknames that people have been giving me over years, such as tsunami of energy, volcano of ideas, several people in one. But most important description is that I see myself as a catalyst for change, to make this world a better place. And this is the most important description and the role that I could possibly wish to have. And in terms of skills, I do have various skills because I have very interdisciplinary background, different degrees. I studied lots of different disciplines. So I have a range of skills that many highly qualified professionals will have on the CV anyway. However, the few skills that perhaps stand up for me would be that I'm some kind of a polymath, because I am very interdisciplinary, multidisciplinary person, studied so many different disciplines. And so I see myself both as a generalist and a specialist in several areas. And because of that background, I think one of the skills that really stands up for me is that I can see the big picture. I can connect the dots. I can, and also I develop my intuition. I've done a lot of personal development work over years. So because of seeing the big picture, being able to connect the dots from different disciplines, I was able to create the management shift approach, which is known as the how of the big shift from old to new paradigms, from old world of work to new world of work, from old ways of doing business based on command and control, hierarchical decision making, standardization, specialization, bureaucratization, that all worked well in the first industrial revolution. But it is very detrimental for performance in modern organizations. So now we need to shift to what I call level 4 or 5. And these masks on the wall behind me, they are psychological anchors for the 5 levels. So the big shift is between levels 3 and 4. So I created a set of tools for individual and organizational transformation, which is the how for moving from old ways of being and working and thinking and leading, which is levels 1, 2, 3, up to the blue mask, to go for this big shift, which is the green area. It's where everything changes. And I can very briefly go through levels for those who may not be familiar. So level 1, lifeless mindset, apathetic culture. So at every level, we have specific thinking patterns, language use, behavior, beliefs, leadership style, organizational outcomes, and so on. So at level 1, not much happens. People are too depressed, lots of fear, blame. Level 2, reluctant mindset, and stagnating culture. People do minimum they can get away with just to get their paycheck. So they bring their body to work, but their heart and mind stay at home. Level 3, control mindset, orderly culture, traditional command and control. We do what we are told to do. We are led by big leaders with big egos. And majority of companies are at those levels 1, 2, and 3. And this is one of the key reasons why we have low levels of engagement, low levels of performance, innovation, and profit in, I would say, maybe 80–85% of organizations. But when we go through the management shift, through the big shift, when we go to level 4, we get enthusiastic mindset, collaborative culture, and the keywords are trust, transparency, purpose, having fun working, giving back to the society, collaboration, teamwork, passion for work, and so on. And here we see a step change increase in performance, innovation, engagement, and profit. In some companies I worked with, we saw a profit increase by 100% in a year, or 300% in 3 years, and so on. And that corresponds to research that other people have done, what happens when we go through this big transformation. And then occasionally we can reach level 5 with limitless mindset, unbounded culture. This is where we work day and night on some amazing innovations for humanity, where nothing is impossible to achieve, such as I don't know, Steve Jobs' team working day and night until they invented Macintosh computer in the 80s and so on. And also we are driven by love for humanity. So we want to make this world a better place. So the objective of everything I do is to help leaders and companies to be anchored at level 4, occasionally go to level 5. And when they go temporarily to lower level, if they have some difficulties, they bounce back quickly and easily to level 4.
Wow. So most companies are actually within levels 1, 2, and 3, and the levels 4 and 5 are where the big shift happens. I want to say hello to all these people joining us and greet them. I can't greet you individually, but we're delighted to have Vlatka Hlupic here today, who just enlightened us about the management shift. As one of the top 10 most influential leadership thinkers and one of the most influential HR thinkers, what are some of the shift and transformational messages you are offering us and the world, and what should we think and act upon?
So I just described the 5 levels of the management shift. So this is the essence, that the foundation of my work. This is a seminal work. I have to say, I present this in a simple way so people can understand it and apply it and use it in companies. But there are over 20 years of my interdisciplinary research behind all this work, and research is described in more depth in my book, The Management Shift. So these 5 levels, this is the backbone of everything. And after that, I have developed assessment tools, for example, for leaders, for employees, so we can see where people are on this scale, 1 to 5. And then develop e-learning coaching programs. So we teach coaches how to coach leaders to shift and to stay at level 4, to anchor at level 4. And then I have also developed, for example, 6-box leadership diagnostic tool where we can measure entire organization, where organization is, and where are the hidden strengths and weaknesses in the areas of culture. So we can see what kind of culture organization has. Relationships, how well people work together, individuals, their mindset, drive, motivation, strategy, how it gets developed and executed, systems, how the work gets done, and resources. So this is like the organizational MRI. And then I would go there like a doctor and prescribe the medicine, which would be a specific action plan for 1-year actions that can be taken at individual and organizational level to heal the part of the organizational body that needs healing, and to shift all the scores and the performance and the profit to level 4 and 5. In addition to that, I can briefly explain the work I did, which is captured in my latest book, Human Capital. So I interviewed 58 global leaders about their own strategies and the mindset for this big shift from level 3 to level 4. So I captured 35 case studies, 200 strategies, and when I analyzed all the research data, I came up with 8 key pillars that organizations have to have in place to humanize their organizations and to stabilize at level 4 and 5. So some of those pillars would be, for example, number 1, the mindset. You need level 4 mindset for leaders, employees, to have this kind of humane culture. Also values, you need to align individual values with organizational values, a purpose, a higher purpose. It's very, very important. It needs to be discovered and clearly communicated. Also, for example, aligning systems and people, developing organizational learning processes and so on. So, and then I took this research further. You know, last year in March, when the lockdown started and the whole big shift for the world has started, I thought, I'm not going to catch up on Netflix now. I'm going to deepen my research, because now many companies are getting in trouble, leaders are getting in trouble, the world is getting in trouble. So I thought, okay, what can I do to help? So I went back to my research. I looked into data from the management shift research. I looked into the data from human capital research. And then I created about 5 new models that I think are quite useful now. So one of them is 8 C's of quantum leadership model, where I identified 8 key competencies for leaders that are crucial right now at this point in time. And I teach those during my masterclasses and workshops. One of them would be having the clarity and purpose, but also courage and clear communication and so on. So, and another model that I really like, which I developed, and I teach that during the 5 masterclasses program that I do, is the 8 intentions for creating purposeful business. So we look into what kind of intentions we have towards ourselves and our clients and the world, and we also look into clients as well. So what do we want our clients to experience from interaction with us and so on. So these are some of the shifts and some of the messages that I wish to offer to the world. One important point is the whole lockdown has accelerated shift towards level 4, because leaders cannot micromanage people, because they need to trust them that they will deliver the work that needs to be done, and let people decide when, where, and how they're going to do their work without overlooking over their shoulders in the office. So we can see this acceleration. And another issue I noticed is we could also see a polarization when the whole pandemic started. So we could see polarization towards lower levels, levels 1 and 2, with lots of uncertainty, fear, worry about health, well-being, economic well-being, and so on. And then another polarization towards levels 4 and 5, there were people that can see the big picture, see what is going on in the world as an opportunity to let go of old systems that have not been working for a long time, and create and co-create new systems, new businesses, new educational systems, new healthcare systems that are more humanized, more fit for purpose for these times, and that can indeed make this world a better place.
Wow, Vlatka, a whole management course in just a few words. People were asking about the 5 levels. I think you've covered some of that and you've gone beyond. The book, ladies and gentlemen, is The Management Shift. Is that correct?
Yes,
Vlatka?
that's the book with the 5 levels, The Management Shift. Yes.
Yeah, The Management Shift. I hope you have a bit of time. We're going to go over time because it's so interesting what you say.
Of course, no problem at all.
Thank you. So we are in 2021, and yet in most parts of the world, many women with equal or better skills than men get the short end of the stick when it comes to equal opportunity, equal pay, and things of the kind. What needs to shift to contribute to the improvement of women's opportunities, whether they work in the corporate world or as whether they work as entrepreneurs?
I think if you look at the big picture in the world, I think we need a big shift from patriarchal society towards more equal societies, where people realize the value that women bring to society, not just to work, but overall. In terms of work, we need diversity of thought. Obviously, we need more gender balance. So if you look at the board levels, if you have, let's say, 10-20% of women at board levels, how does this work if customers are diverse? And in some cases, majority of customers are women. So how can you make a sound business decision if you just have men, a majority of men are making all these decisions? So it makes sense from business perspective, as well as from human perspective. Talking about business perspective, if you think about the 5 levels, and if you think about level 4 management and leadership, which is crucial for surviving and thriving today in the world for many, many reasons, and I have done tons of research and other people have done tons of research that can prove what I'm saying. that you cannot achieve sustainable performance operating from levels 1, 2, and 3, because nobody wants to be micromanaged and so on. So if we look at level 4, there are female traits related to caring type of leadership, collaborative type of working, creating communities, a sense of communities in organizations. So these are the traits that are more pertinent to women, although there are men with the same traits. At the same time as we sometimes see female leaders that behave like men as well, which I don't think is right, but we see that. So it is quite level 3 or lower. So we need to understand. Sorry, I think I just stopped the phone call. So we need to accept and recognize all these traits that female leaders can bring, and see the business sense of having more leaders, especially more leaders, female leaders, women at leadership positions.
Excellent. Thank you. Thank you. In 2012, at a TED Talk in Norway, you spoke about your dream of making organizations more humane and people happier about the work, even passionate about it. Why is this essential to have in corporations?
It's essential because it's not just a common sense, it's not just the right thing to do, but it also makes sense from economic point of view, as I mentioned. So I mentioned some companies we worked with 100% increase in a year in revenues or profits. If we look into research published by Professor Sisodia and his team, they looked into so-called firms of endearment, and they looked into companies that try to achieve a strategic alignment of all stakeholders, rather than just focusing on short-term profit maximization for shareholders, which is old, outdated model that doesn't work. So they discovered that those companies outperform S&P 500 index by 1,058% in about 15 years, or Fortune 500 companies, the best companies to work for, they outperform S&P 500 index by about 300% within 4 or 5 years. If you look at some other case studies, one of the case studies from Human Capital book as well, HCO Technologies, they went through the big shift and they increased profit by 700% in 7 years, which corresponds to the figure of 100% in 1 year, etc., etc. And then when I interviewed all these leaders for Human Capital book, I asked them, tell me, what is the price tag? What is the value of this big shift from old to new ways of working, from level 3 to level 4? And some of them have tried to monetize, to give me some figures. So they said, it adds extra 10% of the company value. It adds extra 15 to 25% of the revenue. It adds extra millions or billions of pounds or dollars for a company. But some of them tried to describe the human value. So they said it's priceless. There is no price for magic. It's a difference between a mere existence and true happiness. In some cases, they said it's a difference between life and death, because if we did not go through this shift some years ago, we would not have survived. We would not be around anymore as a company. So there's a huge, huge value. And the final point is, you reminded me of this TED Talk where I started, I have a dream and a vision. And I'm just getting goosebumps now, because this dream and this vision is still as strong today as it was in 2012, 9 years ago. And I've been working tirelessly to help this happen and make it a reality. I don't want my children or anyone's children to work for toxic bosses in organization.
Your dream and your vision and your I have a dream just remind me of Pastor Martin Luther King as well. in this month that our African American friends, brothers, and sisters call the Black History Month, I believe. So thank you so much. There's so much depth in what you're sharing with us. On a lighter note, you are often a keynote speaker. What tips about public speaking and your business skills would you like to give to our audience?
Well, some of my main tips would be, it's very, very important to be authentic, to speak with passion, driven by your purpose, because people can feel that. Many people tell me when they listen as me speaking at keynotes, we can feel your passion, your purpose, and I really speak from the heart, and I really mean what I say. So speak from the heart, connect with audience emotionally, at emotional level. So before I go on the stage, I would just take a moment just to compose and ground myself, and I set intention to connect with audience from my heart and to touch as many lives as I can in this audience, so they learn something that they can apply to make a difference in their lives, and then to start creating ripples around them, and those people around them will start creating their own ripples, and so on. So this is always my intention and desire when I speak. So it's about inspiring purposeful action, I feel, and igniting this desire to spread those ripples. I talk about ripples a lot. I probably have, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 images now representing ripples from my designers. It's such a strong message, in addition to butterflies, which is all about transformation, and complexity theory, which is largely behind my work. So it's about spreading these ripples, touching people's lives, inspiring people. And I think if you can do that as a speaker, that's the most important thing that you can intend to do.
Well, I have goose pimples, I think is the expression in English, or excuse my bad English, but every time you speak, I feel that same thing. And listen to what the public is saying. Keep radiating this energy. Powerful statement and vision. Yes, 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 very transparent. Yes, we can feel it. You speak from the heart, from your heart. So thank you. On the 22nd of February this year, you will launch the managementshiftSpace.com, a new website. It says in that website, I was fortunate to have a sneak preview. It says the management shift transforms the mindset of business leaders and organizational cultures in a post-pandemic world, focusing on people and purpose to achieve prosperity, 3 Ps. How can this be achieved, and why is it important?
I mentioned already that all these tools, processes, methods, assessment tools that I developed over many years of my research are all evidence-based. They have been applied with individual leaders, leadership teams, and many organizations worldwide. And what we have done on the website, we have streamlined all these tools and programs for individual and organizational transformations into 7 key client segments, so that people from different areas can find more easily what they can use for this transformational journey. So we have programs and tools for individual, team, and organizational transformation for top leaders, CEOs, board level members, but also managers. That would include human resources management, L&D managers, etc. Professionals in professional IT, creative services. And then we have accreditation programs and tools for executive coaches, trainers, educators, consultants, and also venture capitalists. So we can provide this health scan for companies, so people can make the right decisions and reduce their risks. So why is this important? It's important because I already mentioned the new world is emerging. So we can see what is coming to the surface now, what hasn't been working, and now it's a bit more augmented, what hasn't been working in terms of business leadership. We can see lots of CEOs of big companies resigning, We saw newspapers articles about the impact of toxic leadership. For example, French telecom company, 19 people committed suicide because of toxic bad leadership. We know that one of the key reasons for financial crash in 2008 was autocratic executives, and many of them bullied their staff. So this is all level 1, 2, 3. So now it's like there is a more light shining, more spotlight coming to shine on things that need to change, transform, crumble to be rebuilt into something new, something more beautiful, something better for humanity. So that's why I really, really pushed hard on finishing and launching this new website as soon as possible, so that individuals, organizations can use all our tools to propel themselves to levels 4 and 5 and help co-create this new world, which will be more purposeful, happier, and more just, cleaner, and a better world for the future generations.
Wow, Vlatka, it seems that everybody needs to read your book and also to apply it in the new world, because clearly things are shifting tremendously. On behalf of Acosphere, on behalf of everybody who is attending here, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to say goodbye to our speaker at this stage. But before saying goodbye to our speaker and then telling you a little bit about next week, I have a final question for you, Vlatka. What final takeaway would you give our audience, please?
I would like everyone who is listening to this to understand how powerful you are. So each and every one of you can create those ripples and make a big difference. It could be one email, it could be one video, it could be one article, one blog, or it could be just one conversation on Zoom or over coffee with your colleagues, and you will start spreading those ripples. I will share very, very briefly one of the stories from Human Capital book, where I interviewed Celine Schillinger. At the time, she worked for Sanofi Pasteur, a pharmaceutical company. So what she did, she realized that the executive team was not diverse enough. Mainly middle-aged men were there. And then she wrote an email to a CEO, very, very brief email, saying something like, "Dear CEO, this executive board is not diverse enough, but our customers are diverse. We need to do something about it." Initially, CEO did not reply, but her colleague saw this email, and then this email went viral. And then they started to self-organize in the communities of passion to drive the change in organization. In 6 months, the changes were brought upon this organization. She started Facebook group with hundreds of thousands of followers. She created a new job for herself. Now she's self-employed, well, she used to travel everywhere. At the moment, she's working remotely. She even got OBE from French president for that work. It all started with a one short email to CEO. So I just want everyone to remember that you can all create those ripples, and no matter how small or big action is, but with our thoughts, with our emotions, with our actions, with our words, we create those ripples, because we influence the quantum field of consciousness, so we can all spread those ripples and make this world a better place. So that's the final message.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for these beautiful messages. And the final message, we can all create ripples. Let me read a few thank yous from the audience. Thank you so very much, Vlatka. Thanks, Adriel, for giving us the beautiful opportunity. Thank you, Vlatka, a beautiful spirit and an ambassador to penetrate and radiate the beauty within each of us. Thank you. So inspiring. Thanks, Vlatka, for sharing. And many other people who just saying hello and really have enjoyed. Vlatka, from the bottom of my heart, and also just on behalf of the entire Acosphere team, I want to read another thank you. Thanks, Vlatka, for showing us the way to follow. And for all this public that I'm going to speak to for a minute or two after I say goodbye to you, Thank you so much for the changes and the transformation, deep transformation. I want to say spiritual transformation you're bringing to the world. Thank you so much. People are going to pick up your book. And I look forward to speaking with you very soon.
Thank you so much for inviting me, and many thanks to the audience and all your beautiful comments. I would like to read them all. I hope we can save them, and I really, really appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you, Vlatka, and see you soon. Please, everybody, don't leave. Goodbye now.
Goodbye.
So everybody, this was amazing. I am very grateful to a friend called Ian Helps for introducing me to Vlatka Hlupic. You will agree with me, one of the foremost thinkers in the world in terms of human capital, but also in terms of leadership shift. I haven't yet read the book. I will, and I invite you to go and buy The Management Shift. You can also buy the latest book that she wrote, which is Human Capital. Next week, we will have another fabulous speaker. Not so long ago in France, you wouldn't have expected a Black man to be the chairperson for one of the big four consultancies. We will be so fortunate to greet and listen to the incredible life stories and also stories about public speaking of no other than Mr. Wilfried Loriano Dorego, current chairperson of KPMG France. He's not only the chairperson of KPMG France, he manages two of their largest accounts around the world. And he's also the president or the head of the French president's board or community for advice on Africa. Wilfried Loriano Dorego next week here. For the English speakers, I'm afraid I'm going to say a few things in English. It's going to be in French, but please do come. He has an incredible life. Thank you so much for following us on Instagram Live every week. And we have lots and lots of great speakers coming up. Stay blessed, stay happy, and make these management shifts for yourselves and for your companies. Till soon.